Okay, what's up with it? It's your boy Expat D here. I want to talk to you today about 7 embarrassing moments that I had in Ethiopia. All right, so let's get right into it. Okay, I was living in Ethiopia. No, the first time I traveled to Ethiopia, I stayed there maybe about a little bit over a month. And towards the end, right, it was the end of my trip. I had to cut it a little bit short because I had an issue with my debit card. And so what happened was a bunch of people at the end were like inviting me over. By the way, Africa is so great when it comes to hospitality. So people are like inviting me over to like coffee ceremonies, right? And so here's the thing, and let me know in the comment section, like as a foreigner, like is it rude for me to say no? Because some of these like coffee ceremonies, right? I'm thinking like, oh, we're just gonna just drink coffee, right? And maybe a little bit of popcorn. But it's like, they'll go and like they'll have like the popcorn, then they'll have like these big pieces of bread, right? And then another big piece of bread, and I'm just like stuffed, right? It's like it spans in my, I'm just like, oh, like, right? And so I'm eating the coffee, having the coffee ceremony stuff and eating the bread, and then another person invites me over, and I'm like eating, what do you call it, Durowat, and it's like this. I don't know why we're like at this cheap hotel, right? And I didn't know like, as a foreigner, you probably don't want to eat like anywhere, right? And so like I had some Durowat. It was pretty good, right? And then somebody else invited me over. Oh, I was trying to find, there was like these, it was like on Boli at the time, right? I don't know if they still have New York Cafe, but it was this other place called Green something. It was like in Boli. And they have these cookies, man, these oatmeal cookies. But anyway, I'm eating all this stuff, and I think I might have had some etch, right? That's what you call it, etch, like that honey wine. And I'm like mixing all these foods, right? Just like, this is my last day, right? I'm just trying to get in as much as I can. And so then it's so funny because the airport, and it's funny, the shirt that I had, it was called "This Is My Party" shirt, right? It was this green, like, it was some cheap Walmart shirt that I had. I don't know why I had it. I don't know why that's the one I chose to wear. But I'm like dog sick, right? And this is my last day, and I'm like barely making it to the airport, right? And it's like right in the middle of the airport, I'm like, right? I threw up everywhere. And then that was it, right? It was like, I was like, oh my God, like, what do I do? What do I do? And it's like, people just walked over the throw up, right? They were just walked over the throw up. And I was like, geez, right? It was so embarrassing, right? I felt like Urkel. I was like, did I do that? Right? It was so embarrassing. But that's number one, okay, of one of my most embarrassing moments in Ethiopia. And it was sad because even when I got on the flight, they were like, I was like, can I go to the bathroom, on the flight? They're like, no, right? Because whatever light was on. So they just gave me a bag, and I'm just like, just like throwing up everywhere, right? On the flight. It was just so embarrassing. Okay, that brings us to number 2. Number 2, I took a trip to, I think I went to both, like Dira Dawa and Harar, right? And, it was interesting to see a different part of Ethiopia. It was some years back, but I liked it. It was like the vibe was a lot more calm, and people weren't like running to like ask for money and stuff like that. But I'll tell you what, it's funny, like when I go to Ethiopia, it's like I have like a very ambiguous look. You know what I mean? Like I've been mistaken for like Arab. I've been mistaken for Puerto Rican, Dominican, Egyptian, Ethiopian, Arab. So, and it's not like, I mean, they swear on that, to the point where it's like, if I tell them I'm not, they're like, no, you're lying. Why are you lying? Why don't you why don't you have, your heritage, da 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 da, right? So anyway, so sometimes when I get somebody wants to come and ask for money, they're like, they're kind of confused. Like, is he a local? Is he a foreigner? Is he a local? Is he a foreigner? But anyway, I didn't get a lot of that in Dira Horror, right? But on to the embarrassing moment, right? So I'm like, this is my first time like catching a bus, right? So it's like this big bus to go there, and I am just like, I didn't realize how many people they put on the bus. So they put all these people on the bus, right? All these people. So I'm just like, crunch, right? And I'm like, whew, as long as nobody else comes on. So then these women come on, right? And I guess they smuggle clothes in that area. So they come on, and it's like they're packed with clothes and clothes and clothes. And it looks like it's equivalent of being like 500 pounds. They just got like clothes and clothes and clothes and clothes and clothes on top of them. They look like sumo wrestlers, right? And they're like sitting down next to me. I'm just like, right? And then somebody has some goats. And like they put the goats up on the boat, on the bus, and the boats were like, nah, nah, help, help, nah, help, right? And it was just like a crazy ride, man. It was just like embarrassing, right, to be in there like that, right? So that's story number 2, right, of most embarrassing moments in Ethiopia. All right, let's go to number 3. And this is, I mean, I tell you, you gotta check out some other ones I'm gonna say towards the end of the video. This is not by order. So you can let me know, which of these stories would you find the most embarrassing? The other one, okay, this is at Addis Ababa University, okay? I had a friend that worked there, and I went to visit, okay? And I had to go to the bathroom. So, I went to the bathroom, right? And I'm like, oh, thank God, I thought I had everything covered because, a lot of times you go to Africa, they don't have toilet paper in the bathroom. But this time I brought the toilet paper. So I said, whew, I got everything covered. I'm finally catching on to this Africa thing, right? So I ended up using the bathroom, right? And then you could barely fit in the bathroom, right? It was like the little stall area was, it was a door, but it was really tight to fit in. So what ended up happening, I ended up using the bathroom and everything, right? And then the door didn't open. I had locked it, right? And the door didn't open. So I'm jiggling it, trying to get the door to open. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm stuck. So at first I'm like, I wish I would have had those goats, right? They could have been like, nah, help, help, nah, nah, right? So, I'm trying to jiggle it, open it, right? The thing didn't open. I'm like, oh my God, what do I do, man? What do I do? So I ended up, and it wasn't the stall wasn't super high, right? So what I did is I said, well, I'm gonna have to jump, get my way out, right? Somehow climb out of the bathroom. So I said, this is what I'll do. So I tried to stand on the toilet stool to climb out. And I ended up standing on the toilet, and the toilet broke. The whole toilet broke, right? And then finally, it was so embarrassing. And then I couldn't climb out, right? And then finally somebody heard me. Then there was just a group of people. It's a group of maybe 10 or 12 people, right? Trying to help me. And they finally get the door out. I get out, the bathroom is broke, water's gushing out. I'm sitting in there whoa, guys, I was like, oh, thank you. I'm okay. And they're all they're all looking, they don't even care about me. They're looking at the toilet oh my God, the toilet is broken. The toilet is broken, right? So I'm like, geez, this is so embarrassing. All right, on to my next story, okay? So I'll tell you a couple, and these are, well, I'll tell you one story. I thought I was being good, right? A good Samaritan. So what I did was I ended up finding money on the ground, okay? So I'm looking, right? I'm walking, like I always feel like I'm pretty well, well aware of my environment. So I'm always watching for stuff, and I looked, and I said, well, I found burr, right? On the ground. And it was like, I don't know, it wasn't like a whole bunch of money. It might have been the equivalent of like $5, something like that. It was in burr. So I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give this money away, right? I'm thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna be a good Samaritan. I'm gonna give it away. So I saw this group of kids, right? Asking like, like they're on the street. The ones they be having like lottery tickets, and they have like, I don't know, they're like bald, but then they have like a little rat tail or something, right, in the back of their head or something like that, right? So I was like, okay. I saw one, and I gave him some money, right? I'm like, here, right? No, I think I walked into a group of them. I said, oh, here, take this money. And then they were like, I'm like, yeah, just divide it, right? Divide it up. It's not like I gave them like one. I just gave them like one, like, I guess, big bill. And then the other one was like, no, me, what about me? And then like all these like guys were like, me, you gave them money, give me some. Where's mine? So then, man, it was like a group of like 7 or 8 of them, man. They just kept like chasing me and stuff and following me. And then I ended up having to like run. I ended up running to like some hotel. And then they were like waiting on the outside. And I had to just wait until they went away. It was so embarrassing running away from these guys. I was like, oh my goodness, man. That, there goes being a good Samaritan for the day. All right. Next story, most embarrassing moment. A couple of these are teaching stories. Okay, so I that was one of my first teaching jobs in Ethiopia. So here's a crazy thing, just to give you some dynamics. So where we were teaching was a converted house. Okay, so it was a converted house, and it was like this bedroom is like the 4th grade classroom. This bedroom's a 3rd grade classroom, right? Even crazier story, they had me like when I got the job, they had me living in the house. So I'm like living in a classroom. Okay, can you believe that? I'm literally living in the classroom. I mean, a lot of kids think teachers live at school anyway, right? I literally lived in school. But that's besides the point. That's a whole nother story, okay? So what ended up happening was, when I was teaching, I remember a student, some of the phrases are different, right? So even like the way they address you, like they address you and they call you your first name. I'm used to them saying my last name. So some of them were like saying my last name, some were saying my first name. It was like the whole class was like confused, right? There's one day, this kid, he was like, Mister. I was like, yeah. He was like, and this is like a 4th or 5th grade classroom. Mister, you have rubber? And I was like, oh my God, this boy asked me for a rubber. I was like, oh man. I said, I mean, like, aren't you kind of young for that? You know what I'm saying? Like that, like your parents okay with that? Like you asking me for a rubber? And he was like, yeah, mister, I need rubber. I said, what do you mean rubber? I made a mistake on paper. I'm like, oh, you mean an eraser? Oh, he said, what did you think I was talking about? Oh, I was like, nothing, right? That was crazy. All right, back to school. Okay, I'll tell you another one. We were teaching at a converted house. Okay. And this is our first day of school. So I started over the summer at this school. And now we have like the real, like it was a summer program I started at. So now we got a real first day of school. So the way first day of school is in Ethiopia is they have the kids, like everybody lines up in front of the school. They have like a morning ceremony. They like check their hair and their nails and stuff. I don't remember what they're checking for. You can let me know in the comment section. But anyway, there used to be this dog. I guess he used to live in the house that was now converted into a school. So the dog, this is the first day of school, he just like ran, like when the door opened to let some kids in, he just ran inside the school, right? And he's barking around and wagging his tail, da 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 da, right? Like kids, dog, you know how kids just get, distracted at every little thing, a dog, right? So then the security comes in, right? And he's like chasing the dog, right? Then he straight drop kicks the dog in the face. So he goes, with his feet, bow, right? With his feet. And then the right here, the dog says, rah, 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 right? I was like, God, you're doing this in front of kids, man, for like elementary school kids. It was crazy, right? It was so freaking embarrassing. Whew. All right, yeah, and I'll tell you one last. I may have to do a part 2 of this because I've got more. I'll tell you my last one, and I'll do a part 2 if you guys really like this video. If you want me to do another part to this, comment in the comment section, part 2. I was teaching, right? This is in the summer program. This is crazy. So I'm teaching and I'm thinking my lesson is going well, right? The kids were in their seat and they were paying attention. And it was some different dynamics because the kids, I guess there's a test or something you have to take in Ethiopia. And if you pass that test, you can continue on. I guess it's almost you're taking like a college track or more of a track where you're gonna just do hair or nails or that type of stuff. So parents would delay their kids from taking the test because they're scared they're gonna not pass it. So you might find 13 or 14-year-old in grade 5, right? And so it was crazy, just the different dynamics in the classroom. A grade 5 class, somebody could be 10 all the way up to 14, 15. So it was kind of weird. But anyway, I'm teaching, right? Right in the middle of my lesson, some lady walks in. She's speaking Amharic or whatever, Tigrania or Roma, I don't know, it's something. And she just drops a baby off and just leaves. I was like, what? Literally, it was a baby. I mean, a baby, in a little stroller thing, right? Not a stroller, but looks like a little car seat type thing with the, yeah. She just walks straight in my classroom, right in the middle of me teaching, and just drops a baby off in the middle of my lesson, and she leaves. And of course, that was the end of my lesson. The kids, baby, right? And I'm just like, what the heck is going on? This is a baby. Wasn't mine. I know what you're thinking. Wasn't mine, right? But it was a baby. And I was like, dude, this is crazy. Whew. Anyway, I'm going to end it here. I've got a lot more stories, right? But if you want to hear more, if you want to hear part 2 to this, comment part 2 in the comment section. I'm Expat D. I've got it. I had a request of doing more Ethiopia videos. I did live there some years ago, and I'm a traveler. I'm Expat D. I've traveled to over 35 different countries. So if you like this type of content, if you're also interested in being an expat, I do a lot of expat content. To get you to understand the myths versus realities and tools and things like that you need to be successful on, living abroad. I've been abroad consecutively for the last, I think it's 8 years. But I've been in and out of the country since 2002. So I was doing it before it was cool. I was doing it back when internet was super slow, and I was doing it before Skype and back when we had MySpace, right? So I've been doing this for a minute. Yeah. So anyway, if you like this video, like, share, subscribe. I'm going to end it here. Thanks a lot for joining me. Peace and I'm out.